Okay, this is the notes for views, triggers, and stored procedures in a database. So you can read the notes on your own. What we're going to do is we're going to go through some of the code examples here. So when you do access, you want to have your tables in one file, and you want to have your code in another file. So there's a link to the ViewRidge Tables Access Database on our homepage. You need to download that, keep track of where you save it, and then create a brand new access database called ViewRidge Code. And what we're going to do is we're going to take ViewRidge Code and we're going to link to the tables that are in the ViewRidge Tables Access Database, and we're going to put all the code in there. And by all the code, I mean anything that's not a table. So queries, forms, reports, macros, anything like that. So first thing we want to do is let's go over to access here, and this is our one with the tables. I don't have the word tables on it like I think your copy does, but this is just the tables. There's nothing else. And what we want to do is we want to create a new database. Let's go to our File tab and create a blank database. And the other one is in my Documents folder. I'm going to put this in my Documents folder as well, but I'm not going to call it Database 2. I'm going to call it ViewRidge Code. Whoops. Click on Create. And then flip back over, and what we're going to do is we're going to create a view. Okay. A view behaves like a table, but it's not actually a table. It is, I guess you could call it a virtual table. It doesn't physically exist. It shows you, it allows you to control what people see. So if you've got a table with lots of columns in it, you don't want people to see all the columns, you can let them have access to the view instead of having access to the table. So a view is basically a select statement, and you give a name to it, and that's the view. So first thing we need to do in our database is we need to link to the tables. So that means we need to go to external data here and go to new data source. It's coming from a database. It's coming from an access database, and it's in this folder. I need to find, and it is called ViewRidge. Click on Open, and we're not going to import, we are going to link. Click on OK. We want all of them, so select all, click on OK. And now what we see are the links to the 5 tables that exist in the other database, and we've also got this default table 1 that always comes every time you create a new database in Access, and we're going to get rid of it just by clicking on the X here. And now what we're left with is links to the tables that we're concerned about in ViewRidge. So let's flip back over to our Word document. That's not our document. Let's click on our Word document. And so we're going to create a view. So you create a view using a SQL command. So we're going to create a new query here. And it is pretty straightforward. You do a create command. You give the name of the view, what you want to call it. So this is something you make up. And stick the word view in, stick the word as, and then down here we've just got a straightforward select statement. So it's going to do the select. It's going to give me a first name, a space, and a last name. And it's going to be one field called customer name, and that's what my view is going to consist of. So let's do a Control-C and copy this, and let's flip over and tell Access that we want to create a new query. And as usual, we want to go to SQL View, and we want to paste that in. So let's go ahead and run that. And the views will show up under queries rather than under tables. They're kind of somewhere in between, I guess. But there's customer name view. If we double click on it now, we get customer name and its first name and last name. However, in this particular table, we ended up with a bunch of trailing spaces on the end of everybody's name, so their names look funny with all the spaces. We really just want one space here and no spaces tacked on the end. So what we want to do is we want to delete it. We're going to fix this up. We're going to get rid of the trailing spaces and everything using a built-in trim function. And we're going to create a new customer name view using a different SQL command. So we need to get rid of this one, and there's two ways to get rid of it. The easy way, I guess, is just to right click over here and choose delete. But we're going to do it a different way. But we can't, if we try to run another command to create the view, it's going to tell us it's already there and it won't let us do it. So we need to get rid of it first. And what we're going to do is we are going to use a drop view command and then give the name of the view. And let's go ahead and run that, and it takes away our customer name view. Okay, now we can go over to Word, and the new version of our create view command looks like this. The only difference is we're putting trim. There's a built-in trim function in SQL, and it will trim leading and trailing spaces. And we're applying that both to first name and last name. And let's go ahead and copy that to the clipboard. Now let's flip over, and we will just get rid of this existing view here, and we'll paste in the new one. It's ready to go. Let's go ahead and run it. Now let's look at customer view, customer name view. And we're getting the old one, and I think that's just because it was still open. Now let's try reopening it. And now it looks the way it's supposed to look. So if we go here to the right edge and drag it to the right, you see there's one space in between, and when you go to click on the end of everybody's name, you don't see spaces on the end like we did before. So now that we've got a view, we can treat that just like a table. I'm going to close this window. Yeah, we'll save the changes so we can see everything next time. And I'm going to close this. I'm not going to bother to save it. We're going to flip over to Word. And this is just about the simplest select clause you can possibly have. Select from, and we're actually putting an order by on, but it's pretty straightforward. So the whole point here is that let's go to create query. Should have left that other window open probably. Did not get the right thing copied over, so let me copy that. So we are treating customer view, customer name view just as a table. So we can do a select from it, we can order by, and we'll go ahead and run that, and we will get the results looking like this. So once you've created the view, you can treat it pretty much like a table. There are some restrictions on it, but in general, you can think of it as being a virtual table, kind of a pretend table. So now let's flip back over to Word. And just a note here, you cannot use the order by clause when you create a view. So if I wanted to put it in alphabetical order up here on either one of these create view commands, I could not do that. After it's been created, though, you can use an order by just like you would with an ordinary table. If you want to try this in MySQL, the difference would be that SQL does not allow you to concatenate. Most languages use a plus sign as concatenation operator. Access uses an ampersand. I think it also allows you to use a plus sign as well. But there is a built-in concat function, so that's the difference that you would have to use if you were doing MySQL. If you were doing SQL Server, it would work the same. Apparently there's a restriction though in SQL Server that you must use apostrophes rather than quotation marks around your strings, whereas Access lets you use either one.